Hi everyone, this is Irina from Healnlearn.com, a platform where you can meet experts on mental, spiritual, and life well-being. Today I'm here with Krasi Attasio. She's an astrologer, but not just an ordinary astrologer. She's a very special one, practicing the most ancient of ancient astrologies. She practices Babylonian and Akkadian astrology and uses the sidereal method, which is the actual position of the stars. Now I'd like to thank Krasi for also inviting me to present in her channel, and I'd like to briefly introduce myself for her viewers. My name is Zarina. I have been working in a corporate environment for more than 12 years, and in the past 3 years I decided to start my own business. I started Healnlearn.com, where you can have consultations and coaching with experts from various fields that can help you in your life well-being and spiritual and mental well-being. We have psychologists, we have Krasi out there, an astrologer, an amazing astrologer. We have NLP specialists, beauty and charisma consultants, and of course, business and relationships. So Krasi, you told me that the new year is coming, and I was really surprised. I mean, what new year are we talking about? We had New Year, we had the Chinese New Year, and now we suddenly have again an astrological New Year.
Yes.
Could you please tell us what this is all about?
Yes. We since ancient times, the year and the astronomical calendar was attached to the sky, was attached to the stars. Only recently, it's like hundreds of years ago, the calendar changed for the reason to detach people from the real sky and make use of the sky. So what happened is that we are detached from following the actual celestial events. And being detached from this, we are also detached from the real changes on the sky which resonate to our lives, which in very different forms manifest in forms of events, of course. So it is very important to know when the actual new year starts, because in the ancient times, people would look at the sky on this particular moment, and then they would be able to predict how the year would look like. So the actual new year for Shumer, for the most ancient civilization, was when we see the first lunar crescent before the equinox, before the spring, the vernal equinox. So it is before, it is not after. Later on, the Akkadians who took over the area of Mesopotamia changed this, and then there was another story of looking at the first lunar crescent after the equinox. But let's stick to the most ancient method, since it works brilliantly. And every year when I look at the sky on this particular day, what I see and what you will all see by observing, purely observing the sky, will impact your year. So what is happening is that the first lunar crescent that we will see before the equinox is while the sun is still in Aquarius and the moon will appear in Pisces. That is why we say...
Which date is this? On which date?
This is 8th of March. So in the evening of 8th of March, for all over the world, I think for the Southern Hemisphere it will not be spring, it will be autumn, but again, it is a turning point for the year and very predictive point. So on this particular time, look in the evening when the sun sets and when you see the first lunar crescent, look what is happening around the moon. If there are clouds, if there is a halo, what are the colors on the sky, and try intuitively to see and to imagine how the year will look like for you, for your particular area. But what is happening from what I see, and it will affect pretty much all of us, of course, worldwide, and very basically, I would say, because the people's charts are unique, and how particularly this will affect them in their lives will, of course, make difference. So yes, I would just say it briefly then, and then Zori, you can ask me your questions. I know that we will talk about, as we decided, to describe more in the economy and business view the year, but just very briefly to tell you what it will be seen.
Sure. Yeah, please.
Is that at the moment when the moon will be seen, and you can definitely observe this and make your wish, and this is the real astronomical year. So at the moment when the moon will be visible, Mercury is disappearing. And Mercury will be just very recently at that particular moment in Pisces. So this will have particular impact on the economy. But tell me what your questions, you want me in what direction exactly to look at this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to see in general whether people who start their own businesses would be successful in the coming year, because my focus is especially to give advice for moms who want to start their own business, because I know this is a huge group. Women want independence of their time once they have a child. So I'd really like to know, is it a good time to start a business right now, or does it depend on the type of business?
It will depend certainly on the type of business, and maybe there you will develop a bit better than me. I'm not so well business oriented, but I will give you just an overview how this looks for me, and then we will propose both remedies for people that will feel this concerns them, and this is important for their business and money and everything. Yeah. So what is happening? We're seeing the moon in Pisces like usual, because this is marking the era that we live in, and this is still the era of Pisces. So what is happening? Above the moon will be Mars, and below the moon is Mercury, and Mercury is turning at this particular point a retrograde, and at this particular point Mercury is disappearing from the sky. And Mercury is in Pisces. What is Pisces? Intuition, empathy. If you want psychic abilities, if you want reading the Akashis, people with powerful Pisces will be very esoteric, very occultistic. They will be very intuitive. They will be natural psychologists. They will have hearts for the others. They will be empathic, and so on and so on. This is what Pisces is about. And then we're having Mercury, who is entering, who is in Pisces and is disappearing. By his disappearance, all this blessing of his in terms of communication, eloquence, if you want, sharing knowledge, exactly new projects, negotiations, it will not be that much supported. Mercury is not that bad in Pisces, even though you will hear that there he's detriment or that he's fallen. Well, yes, he's against his own sign, but Mercury this particular time is an evening star. And in Pisces, he's also in an evening environment. So I don't see him as very bad, but I see him as very intuitive. So if you will be doing new projects, this may need to require additional efforts and remedies indeed, because Mercury will not be supportive in terms of economy.
I see. So the way I see it is that we should start projects that are not related to the logical mind so much, that Mercury is responsible for, but rather focus on the projects that Pisces leads, such as you mentioned them already: psychology, developing your creativity. I mean, I have a video on 5 tips on how to do business, and one of the points that I bring out is really how to develop personal characteristics, among which is creativity. So I suppose this year we should focus on things that are a bit less tangible, like whatever Pisces is responsible for.
Yes, and things which do not belong to the matrix, to the material world so much, because Pisces is not so much about this. And also, let's not forget that also on this particular chart that we see for the new year to come, Venus is not very pleased being in Capricorn. Venus is our money. So Venus in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. Now Saturn loves Venus. Venus is not completely fallen there, but it is certainly limited in terms of making money, and this will require Saturnine efforts, if you want. And Saturn is the Lord of time. He's making sure that the karma is fulfilled. So this would say some kind of structure or some kind of additional efforts in terms of making money or starting projects and all this.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we really need to focus on whenever we start a business, and you know it as well because you're an entrepreneur yourself, is really resilience and focus. Like resilience, start all over again, try it one way, try it another way until it works. and also total focus. Once you do something else, you only focus on this thing. While you're working on your astrology charts, you're not watching TV simultaneously.
Yes, yes. Certainly not, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else you want to?
One very important point is that Pisces can be related to illusion, false teachings, false knowledge, deception as well. Depends, of course, how this is placed in the individual chart of the people. But Pisces can be also very much about this. It would say double or triple check when you're signing a contract, when you're doing an agreement. So this is also very important, because it is a sign of deception or self-deception. We could mislead ourselves by disregarding some important fact or just not seeing it, and so on.
Yeah. So it's also a good time, you'd say, to develop your intuition, because there are ways to develop your intuition. I mean, it takes long, but you can cultivate it. Some people are born with it, but I'm not talking about intuition in terms of psychic abilities. I'm talking about intuition in terms of your everyday environment, and about your it as a part of a business skill, because intuition is, as a matter of fact, can be used as a business skill as well. But it is developed once you know everything about the market, once you know everything about the clients. And this is when intuition can be plugged in, and not just as a vague cloud of, I rely on my feelings.
Absolutely. Intuition. Pisces is all about intuition. And one way to stay away from illusionary knowledges and deception is indeed to use your intuition. This is your only connection with your higher self, with God. So certainly intuition, structure, because the ear indeed is not the most appropriate ear for starting new initiatives, for starting new business, for communication and for negotiation as well, unless you are very intuitive, very concentrated, very Saturn-like in a way, like structuring everything that you will be doing, double checking, and so on and so on. What are the ways out of astrology, Zori, in terms of remedies? That, because I cannot go that far since I'm not really very business minded, but what are the, or if you want the psychology, because I know that you're coaching people on how to solve such situations. So what are the easy remedies that you can really propose in this particular situation, when we were going to have Mercury not very much supportive, Venus not very much supportive, even squared by Mars, which would say that people can go into a sort of cloud of emotions, that emotions are not always very appropriate when it comes to your new business or new investment or new plan.
Yeah, every skill can be learned quite fast. I mean, when I mean quite fast, I don't mean overnight. I mean in about 3 months. It needs time to sink in. Actually, there are studies made out there that whenever you do affirmations, it takes about a month for them to give initial results, but for them to really sink in, it takes about 3 months. So whenever you want to learn a skill, let's say you want to meditate, or you want to learn how to speed read, or you want to learn how to use NLP for better presentation skills, whatever you need for your line of business, you need to make sure that that you put the effort every day. So if you want to learn a certain method, it needs to be, and this, I've learned many methods, and this applies across mental methods, energy methods, everything that you practice needs consistency. So it needs to be practiced every day, sometimes a few times a day. So you have to keep this in mind. Once you've set your mind on to doing something, and especially if it's this year, you have to put extra effort and be extra consistent. Yeah.
Yes. What about this illusionary Mercury? Is there a technique that people can, or it will be again the Saturnine structure and discipline that they can apply indeed for fixing this particular effect of Mercury this year?
Well, the way I see it, the way you described it, Mercury has two major effects. One of them is the delusional effect that it causes, and the second one is the effect of reduced capacity of the logical mind. So about the delusional aspect, we can always be lied to unless you learn to really double check everything. The regular remedies that are given when Mercury is not well positioned. What the other thing we can do to circumvent, in a way, the hurt Mercury is to focus on the opposite presentation of it, which is Neptune, which is creativity, which is art. You said Mercury is also in Pisces, so this, as far as I know,
applies. Yes,
it also represents art. Also on beauty, because yes, I mean, beauty is perceived as something superficial, but we all live in this world, and we all know that everybody wants to be beautiful, and everybody wants
I believe beauty is not only superficial. You can have this part of beauty, which is exactly the Neptunus part of beauty, which is the fine, higher octave of Venus, if you want. So what you're saying makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So especially for moms, I mean, women naturally tend to like work with beauty. So if your line of business or whatever you want to do is related to beauty or related to creativity or related to the human mind, and it's the beautiful parts of the human mind, maybe something related to affirmation, something related to meditation, I think this is a good period to focus on such businesses.
Yes, enhance your intuition. Yes, business or new initiatives related to such activities would be more really supported. Mm-hmm. Just to say that when the year starts on the 8th of March, it will be until approximately the same time in 2020. So we're following the same pattern, more or less. Yes. Mm-hmm. Just also not to forget that why we are prone to deceptions is because to lies, media lies, information that will be hidden from us, most probably, that will be misleaded on worldwide level from mass media, the popular media, and so on, politics and whatever, is also due to the square of Saturn to Mercury. Typically, this is the typical, characteristic in the chart for a lie.
Really?
Yes. Okay. When you see square between lie or false speech or false preaching or anything of this kind. So yes, that is also why we need to do, as you also confirmed, additional efforts in terms of every activity that we will undertake. Also teaching, studying, all this is Mercury. Astrology, the outlord, is also Mercury.
You know, the thing that I published a video yesterday, so it's really fresh in my mind, and the thing that pops into mind is the advice that I gave to control your environment. And this applies directly to the false teachings, because you really need to know who is around you, who are your friends, who are you listening to. Are you watching TV the whole time? Are you watching the false priests on YouTube? You really need to analyze well what your environment looks like.
Yes.
Yeah? What you let in this mind.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. And to say what we spoke about earlier with you is that people may have very, very powerful business charts, of course, and they will be less afflicted by this, certainly. But it is more about every beginning that we will make during this time. And just to know that since Mercury is the most important planet, which is about communication and trade, everyone will feel it in a way, because we're collective mind and collective creatures as well. But of course, those that have super lucky charts with Aldebaran or Midheaven will feel this less. However, there are methods, and there are, as you say, use your intuition and try to control your environment. And yes, and be very persistent and time-oriented and disciplined in what you're doing. So with this, I think I can complete. This was just a very brief overview and how the most important features on the sky on this particular chart will affect people. I made another analysis, which is about the whole year 2019, which starts from January, but I am taking into consideration there this particular date. I will make also another one, and people which search for additional advices in relation to how to improve their business or different techniques about enhancing intuition, can refer to your website, which is really great. It's like a portal for people that can provide such help and support to people exactly with this, that are in communication, in business, and so on. And your website is
Healnlearn.com. Yeah, just a side note that I'm not an expert on all these things, but there are people out there on the website that are experts on it and that can help you. So maybe look through the profiles. And before we finish, just a comment on the predetermination, the lucky
yes.
part of the chart, because this is something that we didn't touch. I know your opinion about predetermination. I know that, and I'm pretty sure you're right. Your opinion is that if a chart is lucky, it is going to be lucky, so the person is going to succeed. And if there are no signs in the chart, no way.
Yes.
Now, I was thinking about this for a while, and I'm thinking about all the successful people out there and how their success never happened overnight. It took them years of trying, of falling, and so possibly they've learned also skills along their ways. And I'm sure that they've learned some sort of communication skills, some sort of technical skills, anything that they've needed to bring this product or service up. And so whenever we think of predeterminism, we should also know that wherever we learn, we're probably called on to learn. And so it's probably also written in the chart that we should learn something in order to get us to the point of success.
Yes, this is also in the chart, sorry. Also, this desire of people to learn would be in their chart, or the desire of people to establish something, to be creators in a way, is also in the chart. So all this will be seen in the chart. But as you say, well, yeah, it is predetermined. I strongly believe it is. But there is also this very, very small percentage of free will that we have. And let's hope that this is it. This will bring us to the desire to learn, yes. And but learn, and how Mercury is placed, and how the sun is placed. The sun is about enlightenment, and so many factors in the chart. It is also in the chart, yes.
So if you feel drawn to any of these teachings or any mindset tool, please contact us at healnlearn.com.
Okay.
It's probably in your chart.
Yes, it will be in your chart then.
And the very last thing, I mean, we have so many topics to talk about, Krasi. The last thing that I wanted to bring up are the remedies in the form of talismans that you make that are designed at a particular elected date. And I also have two of them. I want to briefly show them. One of them supports my sun and gives me more energy, and the other one is to enhance my Venus.
Yes.
So please do check out Krasi's website for remedies in the shape of beautiful jewelry.
Thank you, Zari.
Yeah.
Yes, the talisman, it's also one of the remedies. There are many remedies, of course. The self-remedies which people can do by what you mentioned. Talisman is additional remedy in case it is sometimes based, in many cases, based on the natal chart of the person, in case that some planet is detriment or needs to be supported, then the talismans help enormously. Also for business, Aldebaran talisman is for money and luck. So there are many, many options. Indeed, it is all, I am explaining the making of talismans. Also on my YouTube channel, people can see how the royal stars work, for example. And this is not mentioned on my YouTube channel, but a royal star talisman like Aldebaran, it is enhancing the luck and the business, yes. It's not changing the chart, though. Let's say it is not changing the chart. It is supporting it, yes.
It's making it less harsh if it's...
No. If it is set in the chart that the people will be a designer, for example, he will not become a pilot.
I see.
This is not going to happen, so yes. It is helping. These are all these small tools which we can use within the free will that we have. This is within the small frame of the free will. So I believe your tools are there, my tools are also there within these small frames. Yes.
I see. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we complete, and you can see Zori's details under this video if you like to contact her. My contacts you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much.